All right, welcome everybody. Double header again. It's the slams. This is what we do. So we got Gauff coming up. She's moved courts. She was supposed to be on center court, but she's playing on court one because Draper's match finished and Djokovic just started. So they want to try and get back before or get it done before the curfew. They don't want to have it 2 days in a row, so they've moved it, which is smart. But it just means that we have to watch these matches at the same time. But that's okay. We will. Love 15. As Muller serves a fault. Second serve. Good. No, bad serve by Muller. Double fault. And it's love 30. Good idea, to be honest. Yeah, I agree. Especially after yesterday. After yesterday's match, for sure. Love 30. Djokovic backhand into the forehand of Muller. Forehand from Djokovic. Again, the forehand of Muller. As Djokovic forehand down the line is wide. 15-30. How you see the performance of Norway? Do you think he will win the Wimbledon title? Oh, man. Don't ask me that. We can't base Djokovic's chances at Wimbledon by beating his first round opponent. All right, 15-30. As we got a forehand into the backhand of Muller. Djokovic to the forehand of Muller. Muller in the net. May I, and I don't want to remind Djokovic of the bad times, but I will remind you of this. Remember how at the Australian Open last year, he got to the quarterfinal, he got to like the semis without breaking a sweat. And then he played Sinner, and then he lost. So, it's as he breaks, Djokovic breaks. So I don't think we can, there's no point in trying to analyze whether or not Djokovic's going to win Wimbledon based on this match, because even if he wins this in straights, he's supposed to win this in straights. I'll tell you the match that we can make a decision, or we can actually analyze a little better. The match against maybe Mahatch in the fourth round or De Minaur. If he wins those matches easily, that's when, to be honest, the real one is Draper. When he plays Draper in the quarters, if he plays Draper in the quarters, that's the match that we will know whether or not he can win Wimbledon based on that result. It's too hard in 3 games in the first round to say, yeah, he's going to win Wimbledon. It's like, well, a lot of things have to happen as well. Maybe Sinner has to lose. Maybe Alcaraz has to lose. There's a lot of things that maybe Djokovic can't play at 39 or 38, right? He can't win slams if Sinner and Alcaraz are in the way anymore. Maybe he has to avoid them. So, yeah. I'll tell you though, if one of those guys lose, especially if Sinner loses, which would be more beneficial for Djokovic because it's in the same half, that would change things. But I think right now, it can't be. Sinner's still alive. Alcaraz won, and can he win 25? He definitely can, but it's not like it's not like 3 years ago when he was the favorite and everybody else had to figure out how to beat him. Now it's like he's got to figure out how to beat at least 2 different guys. Many commentators are saying that Novak's best chance of a 25th slam is this Wimbledon, but that does not mean he will win it. Some think so, but probably for just his best chance, Novak can't get injured. Yeah, that's totally fair. I think Djokovic admitted himself that his best chance of winning another slam is Wimbledon. Maybe Australia, but Sinner's got that on lock lately. I agree. I think everybody agrees that his best chance. But by the way, I feel like a lot of people said his best chance was the French. a month ago. So I don't know why people are changing their tune. I don't know who like didn't chat. I'm pretty sure. Let me know if you were here for this. Maybe it was last year. No, would have been this year. No, maybe it was last year. Either way, I think a lot of I remember hearing a lot of you in the chat saying that Djokovic's best chance of winning a slam was the French Open. He made the. I mean, he did do well at Roland Garros, but he didn't. He wasn't going to win it. He made the semis, which was better than I think people expected. People thought Zverev was going to beat him, but I think legit. Like, I mean, this is his best chance. Maybe not this Wimbledon, but at Wimbledon. If he plays 3 more, I think at Wimbledon is his best chance for sure. Just like at Wimbledon was Federer's best chance at the same age. Older guys with the faster court, the grass courts, which is a little less. But I feel like grass court, especially what we're seeing so far, grass court experience is so important. If you have grass court experience or grass court, I feel like that is such a big deal. Which Djokovic has 20 years of grass court experience. So that's why, and Federer obviously had grass court experience and he was, made the finals and stuff. Why not this one? Why not this Wimbledon? Like I said, Djokovic's chances improve if Sinner gets out the way. And Alcaraz in the final, right? But I think they're the guys that are most likely going to stop him. And we don't even know what Draper can do. Like Draper versus Djokovic quarterfinal, is that a tough match? I don't know. We don't know if Draper's on that same level of scary yet for Djokovic, right? But we know Sinner and Alcaraz are. Sinner and Alcaraz can beat Djokovic. So I feel like if one of those guys fall, it significantly improves Djokovic's chances. 15 love. There's been a 4-4 rally. Djokovic 3-1 up in the first set. We're just waiting for Coco to come out on court. Coco is going to be playing under the roof, which is the night match. Muller in the net, 15-all. Shelton wins, cool. We love that for Shelton. All right. Nice serving Muller, 30-15. Sorry, my bad. He missed it. I thought he hit it away. I looked down for 2 seconds to see what Coco was doing. The volley went in the net. 15-30. I thought he made it. I looked up and he was walking away like he won. Why is it that Djokovic is better than Alcaraz, better than Sinner, better than Djokovic? Interesting pattern. Djokovic beats Alcaraz quite often, but has been losing to Sinner regularly. Sinner loses to Alcaraz a lot. Yeah, I don't think it's that simple. That's way too simplified. That's not, like, what are you basing that off? Muller hits a drop shot, winner 30-all. Like, if you're basing that off 2025, I guess, but that Djokovic beat Alcaraz this year and at the Olympics. So, okay, if that's what you're basing it off, I get it. But I don't think it's that simple. Because Djokovic doesn't beat Alcaraz on grass. Right? Also, Alcaraz hasn't beaten Sinner on grass. So, just saying that too. Djokovic cooked Alcaraz at the AO. Still not over that. I feel like Alcaraz cooked himself a little bit. All right, 40-30. There's a forehand now on the stretch from Muller to the back of Djokovic. Djokovic is the winner. And it's deuce. All right. Yeah, Coco was supposed to play on center court. Now, I gotta fill my tea. My dying over here. Me, did you take over? All right. Advantage Muller. Djokovic backhand lob. It's too good. Back to deuce. Monfils and Bear is quite good, I can imagine. All right, Djokovic to get the double break. Advantage Nole. Sheldon isn't winning a 250 or a 500. Never mind this. AO. Lol. Anyways, Djokovic double break. 4-1. What are you talking about? Shelton has won a 250 and he's won a 500. What are you talking about? What do you have against Shelton? We are pro Shelton on this channel. We will not take that. All right, 4-1. Djokovic double break. All right, so they shut the roof on court number 1 for Coco Gauff. And Bears up 2-1 against Monfils, by the way. Bencic just won. Kenin is winning. It's all happening. All right. Can Coco avoid carnage? That is the question. Djokovic 4-1. At 38 years old, he is still one of the prime contenders of Wimbledon. That's cool in itself. By the way, Chad, I just want to remind you that Roger Federer was also old and a contender. And it's impressive as well. It's impressive for Djokovic, but it's also like, well, Federer just did that too. So we need to mention both. We need to mention both. We can't be like, oh, well, Djokovic is the only one to ever do it. Roger definitely was there too. Roger did it first. 38-year-old contender. I mean, Roger was, 39 when he played Djokovic in the final of Wimbledon 2019, nearly got the win. So Djokovic is rewriting Roger's achievement. Like Roger got to 100 first, but Djokovic then did it. So again, chat, we should be watching Nole. This is Roger 2019 is where Djokovic is right now. Roger 2019, 2020, that's what we're watching here in Nole. He's in that part of his career, which is a very unheard of part. It's an uncharted part because not many players play. In fact, I don't think anyone who was before Roger at that age doing those things. Like, not many players are charting this territory. Maybe Connors back in the 90s. Maybe Connors. And then before that, probably Rosewell. Not many players, and I know Serena recently, but on the men's side, not many players have walked this path. Djokovic is probably maybe the fifth guy in the Open era to be top 10, still a contender at slams at the late 30s. Doesn't happen. Doesn't happen. So we should appreciate that, but we should also remember who else has done it because it's not the first player ever to do it. He could be the oldest player to win, though. That's a possibility. He could be the oldest player to win a Grand Slam, which would be awesome. All right, 15-0. Djokovic 5-1. As Muller backhand into the slice of Djokovic. George Foreman at 45. Yeah, brother. What are you talking about? All right, Muller 30-15. What is my honest opinion on Zverev's future? He didn't win Wimbledon. To be honest, I'm not going to judge Zverev's career based on a Wimbledon first-round loss. I'm not worried about Zverev. I think Zverev is fine. Him winning Wimbledon would have been the bigger shock than him losing early, to me. So, I don't think this loss today affects Zverev and his future. Now, if he loses first round of Roland Garros, that's huge. He loses first round of the Australian Open or US, that's big. But he has lost here in the first round before. I think he lost the first round in 2019 when we first watched Wimbledon for the first time on the channel. I'm not bothered by, okay, it's not a great result, but I'm not that bothered by Zverev's future on a Wimbledon first round loss. It's his worst slam. He has a terrible record here. He's never made it past the fourth round. He's lost multiple times in the second and first rounds and third round. Like I said, 2019, he lost in the first round. I think it was to an Italian player. No. He lost first round to Vesely. Oh, okay. Well, that's he's a god, so. He lost his Berrettini in 23. That's not bad. But yeah, again, he's not going to win Wimbledon, Zverev. That's not. It's when he loses a slam that he's supposed to be a contender at. They're the ones that That's when I'm going to be really surprised. Djokovic gets lucky with the net cord, and it's advantage Nole to take the first set. So yeah, I'm not worried about Zverev yet. Okay, Djokovic set point to take the first set. As Muller serves the fault, second serve. Second serve. As a return goes to the backhand of Muller. Forehand from Djokovic. Into the backhand of Muller. Again, the forehand of Djokovic. Muller backhand. Into the forehand of Djokovic. Muller forehand. Cross court goes long. Nole 6-1. His son loves it. His son's like, yeah, let's go. All right, Djokovic 6-1. I really thought Zverev and Medvedev would take over, but they've died out. That's because Alcaraz and Sinner took over and probably dampened their spirits. I think a lot of that generation, again, this is how I see it, right? Maybe you guys see it differently, but I see it like this, right? When Zverev and Medvedev and Tsitsipas and that generation came along in 2019 or 2018, 2017, Zverev was a little earlier. When those guys came along, who were the best guys on the world? Okay, the best guys in the world were older than them, much more experienced, obviously with like 30 plus. And I think that a lot of those guys walked into the tennis scene going, oh, okay, these guys are, over 30, they're dominating still. Okay, we'll get our chance when they've gone, right? We'll wait for them to retire. Then we will play. Then it's our turn. And I feel like they waited and waited and waited. And they had chances. They beat them in 3-set matches and they pushed them at slams sometimes. And then it kept going. And then they got to 2020, right? 2021. And these guys kept playing and they didn't retire. Djokovic kept going. Federer kept playing a little bit. Rafa was still there. And they never retired. And then by the time Rafa and Roger disappeared and Nole kept going, they're still waiting. But then by that time, Alcaraz and Sinner had come up and had overtaken them. So I feel like that I know it's called like the lost generation. It should be called the waiting generation because they're still waiting. They're still waiting for their opportunity. They're still waiting for their chance. Now they're going to wait for Sinner and Alcaraz to retire. You know what I mean? And look, yes, Dominic Thiem got a slam. Love that for him. Medvedev got a slam, right? But that whole generation, that 90s generation, I just feel like they were just waiting for the GOATs to retire, and they never did. And then while they were waiting, Alcaraz and Sinner were learning how to beat the GOATs. And then they overtook them and they skipped the line. And now they've got multiple slams each and they're the guys. And the other guys, unfortunately, have been left in the dust. That's how I view it. They were sitting around going, we'll get our turn. Instead of trying to figure out how to beat them at that point in time. Now, of course, they were trying to learn how to beat them. But trying to beat them in 5 sets, right? Whereas Alcaraz and Sinner figured how to do that. By being more aggressive, by playing a different style that was difficult for the GOATs, or at least for the two GOATs that were around. That's sort of that's how I see it. Whereas, the Zverev and Medvedevs and Tsitsipas's of the world, I feel like they were sort of sitting back and just going, all right, we'll play our kind of more defensive game that we've grown up playing, and then when Federer, Nadal, Djokovic retire, I just have to beat Medvedev, or I have to beat Zverev or Tsitsipas. I have to learn how to beat them. But then Alcaraz and Sinner came along. No one saw that coming. And that's their problem. Like, they're the problem now. You got to figure out how to beat Sinner and Alcaraz now. It's not about beating Djokovic anymore. You got to figure out how to beat them. So they probably all do feel a bit lost because they probably expected maybe to have their turn. It was their chance. But Sinner and Alcaraz came along and kind of, like I said, overtook them and took their spot in the line. They skipped the queue, You saying this makes them sound pathetic? I'm cracking up. No, I'm not saying they're pathetic. I'm just saying that felt to me what was happening. And now you hear from what they say hear what they say in the press conference, right? And you hear them saying they're disappointed and they look so dejected. And you go, well, yeah, if you were like playing tennis and you're growing up playing tennis, and then all of a sudden, like, even if you're just doing anything, and then you're like, okay, when that guy goes, it's my shot. I'm next. And then you're waiting patiently for them to stop, so then you can have your chance. And then someone just comes out of nowhere and takes and jumps in front of you and takes what you were waiting for. You know, that's what it. And I feel like also it's kind of. I mean, maybe we're in a different changing of styles. Yastremska holds. Maybe there's a bigger thing going on, right? That tennis is changing the way that it's being played. Kind of like the early 2000s, right? The early 2000s went for serve volley tennis to baseline. We might be watching the generation of defense turn into offense, right? We've got a lot of guys that are playing way more aggressive, you know, whereas back 10 years ago, it was all about 40-shot rallies. Who can rally longer? Who can outlast and like who's physically better? Whereas now you look at Alcaraz and Sinner, and they're obviously physically, you know, going at it as well. But the way they play is so much more aggressive, and they're trying to shorten the points, and they're trying to win points, and they're not trying to rally until somebody makes an error. And I think that maybe there's a generation of player that has come through watching Nadal and Djokovic, right? Going, well, they're the best. We got to play like them. Maybe that. I mean, if you see Djokovic struggling against that generation who are playing aggressive, then what hope do the guys that learned how to be Djokovic, you know, how to play like Djokovic are going to be like? They're going to struggle even more, right? Because if the man they're trying to replicate struggling, then how the hell are they going to do it, right? So they might have just learned the wrong style, whereas Alcaraz and Sinner and those younger guys were probably learning how to play like Federer, who was proactive and a bit more aggressive and successful against the likes of the GOATs. Whereas, you know, maybe there's Zverev and Medvedevs who are trying to be more of, like I said, more of the defensive types like Nole, like Novak. You know, maybe that's wasn't the best strategy when they were growing up. But when you're growing up, I mean, Serena had the same thing. Look at all the players that play like Serena. And then Barty came along, right? Or then Swiatek came along and took over for a while. You know? The players that were growing up like Sabalenka, looking at Serena going, oh, we've got to play like Serena to be successful because she's the best. And you want to be the best, right? You want to play like the best. If they're doing it successfully, then that should be, that I need to do that too. Whereas now, you've got guys like Alcaraz and Sinner proving that you don't have to be defensive to win. You don't have to rally for 50 shots, right? You can, but you don't have to. Gauff's already in trouble, by the way. Anyways, we're rambling. 15:30. That's just how I see that whole generation. And the only way it's going to change is if they do start, if they try to be more proactive, but it's like, it's not that easy. It's not easy as just, like the thing with it, so Andy talked about Zverev, and it was really interesting because Andy had a similar problem with the style changes back in the day. Because I remember watching Andy Roddick back in the early 2000s. And the biggest thing for Andy, he couldn't volley. Like the volleys at the net, he struggled. But if you were going to beat Federer in the early 2000s or the mid 2000s, if you were going to beat Federer, you either had to have a wicked spinny lefty forehand or you had to have an all-round game. You had to come to the net. And I remember Leighton having to be way more aggressive than he used to be because he used to rally, but Federer would just chop him up. And Andy also, he had a great serve, but Federer got it back. And when he got it back, Federer won the rally. So and if you go watch the Wimbledon Final 09, Andy was way more aggressive. Backhands down the line. He came to the net a lot more, even though that wasn't where he wanted to be. And it really, I mean, look, if you look at the second set tiebreak, it undid him, right? I mean, that volley that he missed. But Andy had that same thing where he grew up playing like Pete, right? Pete Sampras as the big server, not really in the net, but at the baseline and being aggressive and playing a bit like Andre. And then Federer came along and changed the game. And then everyone had to learn how to play like Federer all of a sudden because he had everything. Alcaraz and Sinner are like that for the Zverev generation. You know, it's like, oh shit, now we've got to learn how to do net plays and drop shots and, and we didn't learn that. We were learning from someone else. We're watching the other people. So the players from that 90s generation, the ones that are going to do well, are the ones that are going to figure out the quickest how to be aggressive. Or at least how to be more aggressive to compete with Alcaraz, compete with Sinner. Because it's going to be awkward for them because they're not used to it. It's not their natural. All right, Djokovic trying to break in the second. Anyways, we talked so much about it. Hopefully everybody took notes. All right, 15, love you, Yastremska. As we just serve in the backhand of Coco. Yastremska backhand wide. And it's 15 all. As Muller hits a lovely forehand winner, and it's advantage Muller. Too oversimplified. I hope that was a joke. Looking at the replay, missed volley. I still don't know how what Roddick was doing. I think Andy was in two minds. When you watch him hit that volley, I think he was going to let it go because he thought it was going out. But then the last minute, he goes, oh, I better hit it. And he kind of changed his mind halfway through the shot, I think. That's what it looked like to me. It looked like a guy who was coming to the net, but then was like, oh, no, maybe I should let it go. And then he's like, oh, no, wait, it's going to go in. I better hit it. I think that looked like a guy who changed his mind during the midpoint. If he committed to the volley, he would have probably hit a winner. But I think he went, I'm going to come in. No, it's going to go out. No, I'm going to hit it. And he just hit it out. That's what it seemed like. Because Federer, from what I remember, Federer hit like a high loopy shot. Like he kind of did a whipping loopy shot. And then Andy kind of went for a backhand volley, but it was like it was an awkward backhand volley anyway, in general. But anyways, 30-15. I have to rewatch it. I've watched that match a couple of times. That's one of my favorite ones to watch. It was a great fun match to watch. Watch it if you have time. All right, 40-15, Yastremska. $40-15. I mean, chat, it's so interesting how you can we can kind of pinpoint, and I would love to do this. Maybe I will. As Yastremska in the net, 40-30. I feel like there are matches in the world that, especially Grand Slam finals, where there's a point that changed everything. And one of those points was in 2019 for Wimbledon, when Djokovic hit a passing shot winner at down championship point. And another one was that backhand volley that Roddick missed to go up for a chance to go up 2 sets to love. There are those points where we just remember that if that went differently, what would have happened? Federer serve and volleying, I think it was serve and volleying, right? Championship points number 2 against Djokovic in 2019. He just didn't get the serve in the right spot, and Djokovic hits a passing shot winner. He hits that serve a little more body, a little more out wide, or wherever he hit, changes the direction a little bit, maybe he wins. That's so fascinating that we get that kind of. I'm sure there's a lot of those. I mean, we have to watch every Grand Slam final for the rest of time. There's probably other moments that have happened like that. But those key, we just remember those points. And I'm sure the players remember those points even more, Yastremska. Oh, by the way, Coco's wearing a very nice outfit. It's a very designed, Wimbledon design. She's got a bow. Coco's looking great. All right, Djokovic, 40-15. Federer's approach. Was it an approach shot? Yeah, I got to rewatch it. The approach shot wasn't great. It was a little too safe. And then Norway puts it away, and the rest is history. Raducanu is about to win, by the way. All right, 40-15. Raducanu is, yep. All right, forehand now from Djokovic on the volley. Goes wide, 40-30. All right, Coco to serve. Coco's dress and outfit, it's like she's going to a ball. I tell you, Shane, she could wear that if she wins Wimbledon, to the Wimbledon ball. It's very classy. It's a very classy outfit. Djokovic holds 2-1 in the second. It's meh for me. Dutchy, you're just not not a fan. I'm stoked for tomorrow's Buzkova versus Sabalenka match. Yeah, that'd be fun. All right. Gauff, 30 love. Love. Gauff goes to 40 love. By the way, I think they're closing the roof on the Djokovic match. I think they're closing the roof because it's getting dark. I'm surprised they didn't close the roof after the first set. It's weird they've waited this long. All right, full schedule out for tomorrow. So, center court's great. Osaka is playing Siniakova. All right, cool. All right, that's not a bad schedule. Pretty good schedule, to be honest. Pretty good schedule. Actually, pretty chilled tomorrow. There's not too many crazy things going on. A little bit surprised Palini's on court 3, but I guess, number 4 in the world, I guess, whatever, or number 5, whatever. But still, court 3, I thought she'd be like at least court 1, but maybe not. Double starts tomorrow too. Yeah, the doubles kicks off tomorrow. All right, Gauff holds 2-0. Sorry, love 15. 2-0. Cool. So yeah, it's not as busy tomorrow. Tomorrow might be a little bit less hectic, which is a nice change up from the last 48 hours. All right, love 15 is Gauff forehand into the Dayana Yastremska. Gauff into the net. 15-0. When Cam comments on the outfits, since I'm only able to listen, I like when Cam comments on the outfits because I'm only able to listen today. Yeah, Gauff's outfit looks fancy. It's probably the nicest outfit, like definitely the most designed outfit of Wimbledon. Like it's got. Did Osaka have a design? I don't know, but Gauff's outfit definitely feels It's definitely got, it's definitely only her wearing it, but it definitely is a thought out design, which is nice. It's definitely a Wimbledon designed outfit. By the way, Yonex is not a bad outfit either from Yastremska. It's got the green. Adidas and Yonex are using the same colors. That green logo. I like the green logo on the white. It looks good. All right. 30-15 as that goes out by Gauff. And it's 40-15 Yastremska. Is Sinner playing tomorrow? Google shows it. No. I don't like Coco's dress. Okay. I think it's all right. What would I know? 40-15. As the return goes in the back of the Yastremska. Backhand from Gauff into the back of Yastremska, who hits a winner. 3-2 Yastremska to start this match. Muller, he's trying to do something crazy. He comes in with a volley, but straight to Djokovic's backhand lob. Goes in, Muller with a backhand lob. Forehand lob over the shoulder, goes in the net. Great lob by Nole, 40 love. Great rally, great lob. 40 love. All right, 40 love. Nole to take a 3-2 lead in the fifth game. All right, nice serving. 3-2 Djokovic in the second. All right. 3-2. Sinner is not playing tomorrow, no. Has Novak said it's going to be his last time at Wimbledon? Definitely not. Djokovic can't beat Alcaraz, but he can beat Sinner. Okay, show me when. Like, what do you mean? When has Djokovic beaten Sinner? Djokovic can't beat Alcaraz, which is not true. He did it this year. He can beat Sinner, which is also not true because he hasn't done that for like at least 18 months. Do you mean the other way around? You mean the other way around, right? Djokovic can't beat Sinner, but he can beat Alcaraz. That makes sense. Okay, 3-2 Djokovic. Yastremska, by the way, love 30. Uh-oh. Yastremska trying to get the break. As Coco serves again. And as return goes a backhand of Gauff, and then backhand in the net from Yastremska, 15-30. Novak last beat Sinner in 2023 ATP Finals. Sinner gives Novak more problems. You know what I think it is? I think it's more that Alcaraz gives more chances. I don't think it's more I think Djokovic is the greatest player of all time. He can do everything, right? But I think Alcaraz is easier to beat for Djokovic because Alcaraz can be inconsistent. Whereas Sinner is like Djokovic. He doesn't give you anything. He's not going to give you errors. He's not going to give you free points. He's going to run you ragged. Whereas I feel like Djokovic does better against Alcaraz because Alcaraz does throw in errors. He does make mistakes. He does, play too aggressive. Sinner's so solid. That's probably why we haven't seen Sinner lose to Djokovic lately. Because the guys that beat Sinner are the guys that bash Sinner, right? Alcaraz, Rublev, Bublik. These guys are the ones that they bash through Sinner's defenses. A guy that rallies with Sinner is not going to beat Sinner. You got to attack Sinner to be a chance of being Sinner, right? Just like to beat Djokovic, you got to attack him too. You got to try and be aggressive against him, like Alcaraz has done successfully in the past. But I think that Sinner, the guys that beat Sinner are the guys that are aggressive. Yastremska breaks 4-2. So Djokovic is going to have to play aggressive, which is not his game. He doesn't do that. Backhand down the lines, and he wants to rally. That's his game. Trying to be aggressive against Sinner it's probably his best chance of beating Sinner, but because unless Sinner gives him has a bad day and gives him some points, then yeah, this is wrong. You have to have variety to beat Sinner. Well, yeah, variety, aggression, yeah, okay. Bublik has variety, I guess, but you have to be aggressive and you can't be predictable and just rally. We're saying the same thing with just different language. You can't be predictable. You can't be predictable and beat Sinner. No one. I can't remember the last time Sinner lost to somebody who was predictable. All right, 15 love here. Yastremska breaks Gauff. As Yastremska forehand to the backhand of Gauff. Backhand of Yastremska up in the net, 15-0. All right. Advantage Muller. As he tries to level, but he cannot do that. Back to deuce. Alcaraz let Nole get in his head as well. Yeah, at the Australian Open for sure. All right, deuce. As Djokovic returns out. Advantage Muller. As with a backhand winner from Yastremska. Chat, we knew she was capable of this Yastremska, 40-15. We know that this is what Yastremska can do. All right, Yastremska for a 5-2 lead. She serves a fault second serve. And she double faults, 40-30. All right, 40-30. Advantage Muller, by the way, as he tries to level in this second set. There's the backhand. Nope, there's a fault by Yastremska. Second serve. Second serve. Muller holds 3-0. As Yastremska keeps hitting backhands down the line. That's ridiculous. All right, Yastremska, 5-2. Do you think Sinner's PED violation taints his legacy? Nope. Nah. Not at all. I like the only people that are talking about that now are the people that don't like Sinner. I think 90% of the world has moved on. Like, it's over. Done. Yeah, Jay, you don't think so either. Yeah, exactly. I mean, yeah, I don't think it. The only people that are still talking about Sinner's, positive tests are the ones that don't like Sinner. But yeah, it wasn't PED, by the way. We got to make sure we get the right words right. It was bad. Yeah, he had a bad substance. It wasn't performing its enhancing. Well, positive test. Let's just call it that. That's covers everything. Positive tests. 90% of the world doesn't care. 95% of the tennis world has moved on. We're moved on, right? And the 5% of the world that are still talking about Sinner and being like, he should have been banned for life. He should have done this. That's always going to be there, but it's not going to taint his legacy. He's still a Hall of Famer. I mean, he did the time. I think a lot of people thought that 3 to 6 months was adequate, but for what happened, so yeah. Same thing happened to John Jones, and people hold that against him. Yeah, look, there's always going to be people holding it against him. But I think most of the tennis world don't even remember. Like, I don't think most of the tennis world, it doesn't get brought up in the chat as much as I would have expected, which is good. I hope it doesn't. Because we can focus on what matters, and that's the tennis, He did 3 months. It is okay. I said 3 to 6 months is adequate. I think lots of people thought that. Anyways. But yeah, I don't think it taints his legacy. I think it's... we've moved on. Tennis moves on very quickly. It's a very fast-moving sport. And 1 week after something happens, we forget because something else happens. Look at the French Open final, for example, right? A couple of days after the French Open final, everybody forgot because we're watching grass tennis, right? Things move so quickly, right? The other joint played an epic final, and 2 days later, we watched on Wimbledon, we forget about it. Alcaraz plays Fanini, right? And we totally forgot about that epic final in the women's Eastbourne final, right? It happens. 2 years is adequate? Well, that's your opinion. But we're not judges. So if you go to school and learn how to be a judge and you can judge the next time something like this happens. But I thought again, it depends on what you believe too, right? Do you believe the story? If you don't believe the story, you're going to have a different opinion on the matter. If you believe what was said, I feel like, some people think that he should have got 0 time off. Again, it just depends on what you believe, I guess. If you think he was cheating all along and he was doing all this bad stuff, then yeah, you probably want him to be banned for a long time. But an honest mistake? That wasn't his fault. His fault was hiring people that made a mistake. Then I think it was just. I think 3 months was fine. Anyway, it's 15-all. But we talked about this to death 6 months ago, so. And again, it won't taint his legacy. His legacy is not tainted. All right. Ah, 15 all. Muller is trying to stay level in the second. By the way, Yastremska 30 love. She's 2 points away from taking the first set. It's tainted, in your opinion. In your eyes, yes. But in the world's eyes, Sinner had a 3-month break that nobody will remember. And everyone will be like, oh yeah, remember when that happened? You will remember it till the day you die. Tennis world doesn't remember it. We won't, it doesn't matter. It won't be a big deal. It's not a big deal. No one's talking about it even now. Anyways, Djokovic, 15-40. Again, if you remember it, that's different to if he will be remembered for it. Yastremska hits it out, 30-15. It's not tainted in your eyes? 100%, yeah. But also, I think most people in the chat, one in the chat if you think Sinner's legacy is fine, 2 in the chat if you think it's tainted. Because maybe I'm in the minority. I don't know. Deb's like, get over it. All right, 30-40. All right, pretty split. Interesting split. Oh, Leon meant 1. Yeah, 1 if you think if nothing changes. 2 if you think he's tainted. If it's tainted the legacy. I feel like it's pretty even. And as time goes on, I feel like less and less people will remember. It's still probably fresh, and that's fair enough, but again, it gets brought up. This is the first time it's been brought up since he's come back. And that was like 2 months ago. Anyways, backhand Muller. As Djokovic puts up a lob, Muller's going to hit a tweener, and it goes out. Advantage Djokovic. Advantage Djokovic. By the way, 40-30, Yastremska to take the first set. Serve goes down the tee as a fault. Second serve. Second serve, Yastremska. Serve into the corner. Gauff. Return. Nope, that's a let. Djokovic goes back to deuce, though. As Yastremska double faults. And Gauff gets the deuce. Not over yet. All right. Advantage Muller. As Yastremska faults again. Second serve. Second serve. Into the forehand of Gauff. Good return. Yastremska on the stretch. Goes long. Advantage Gauff. To get back on serve. Lance is more than tainted. You know why? Because Lance Armstrong deliberately, actively, allegedly, I don't know if it's been proven, knowingly tried to cheat. There's a difference. There's a big difference. Than somebody who hired some people that accidentally contaminated his space. You know, it's different. Huge different. Gauff breaks back. Not even a comparison. I mean, yeah, it's not even close. Anyways, Gauff breaks back. We're back on serve 5-4. Yeah, it's not even close. I mean, it's almost... I wouldn't say Sinner's case is the least extreme of like the smallest thing of all time, because I feel like Swiatek's case was way... Like, that was almost like the smallest, babyest little, like... The opposite end of the Lance Armstrong, right? I feel like Swiatek's was like... How the hell, besides being a scientist and testing everything she puts in her body before taking it, how the hell was she supposed to know what that was going to do, right? You know, how was she supposed to know that an over-the-counter normal melatonin tablet was gonna screw her up for a month? That's probably the most minute thing that's ever happened. One of the most minute. Unless you walk past someone and they sneezed on you and you got tested positive for something because you sneezed. Like that, I mean, you brushed on against somebody by accident, and that was like that got into your system. Like, I mean, you know what I'm saying? Unless you're Richard Gasquet and you're kissing people in the club, like, that's probably the best. I don't know if that happened. Allegedly. It's a cool story though. It's a funny story though. Advantage Djokovic. But yeah, like her case is so accidental. And then like Lance's case is like so like deliberate, you know. That Sinner's way closer to Swiatek than Lance. Anyways, Gauff back on serve. As we get a 15-love scoreline. Good work from Gauff. By the way, Muller is playing a marathon game. He's just trying to hold. It's melatonin. It's for sleeping aid. Yeah, I take melatonin sometimes. It's totally just it's an over-the-counter thing to help your jet lag and help you sleep. All right, advantage Djokovic. Take the break. Advantage Djokovic to break in the second. Wimbledon, big move moving Gauff onto court one, and it was a smart move too. They made a great call tonight, or today. You don't get sleep? Nope. Gauff serves an ace 5-5. I mean, look at me. Do I look like I sleep? Come on now. 5-all. Good fight back from Coco. As Muller serves the fault second serve. All right. 7 to the backhand. Djokovic. Return goes to the forehand of Muller. Djokovic backhand slice in the net. And it's advantage Muller. How do I survive without sleep? I don't know. Advantage Muller. As the return goes out by Djokovic. 4-all. Muller holds. He holds. All right. 4-all. Djokovic to serve. As Yastremska 15-all serves in the forehand of Gauff. And then Yastremska hits a winner down the line. 30-15. All right. Djokovic serving to stay in front. As Djokovic 30-love. Forehand now from Yastremska to the forehand of Gauff. Gauff hits it out. 40-15. As Yastremska serves again. Fault. Second serve. All right, Djokovic holds easily. And Yastremska also holds. 6-5, Yastremska, 5-4 Djokovic. Cool. Navratilova is the Wimbledon GOAT. Yeah, I mean, hard to argue. Coco is like Alcaraz, the love coming and waking up to win. That's just not easy on their fans. They love coming and waking up to win. Oh, you mean they love their slow start, or they just have random close matches maybe. But this isn't random. I mean, Yastremska is legit. Swiatek Raducanu is going to be a banger. I hope so. By the way, Monfils and Humbert are going 5. Surprise, surprise. Surprise, surprise. That was going to be 5 sets the moment they got drawn together. By the way, Azarenka's about to lose, which is a bit of a shame. And also, Pennington Jones takes out Echeverry. That's interesting. Great for the wild card. Jack Pennington Jones. We got to figure out a nickname for him. That's too long. JPJ. Something, I don't know. Anyways, Muller serving to stay in the set. Djokovic wins the point, love 15. Gauff's also down love 15, serving to stay in the set. And she serves a big serve down the tee that time. 15-all. $117-mile-an-hour serve for Coco. We already watched the biggest serve of Wimbledon history on the men's side. Can Gauff do the women's side? Love 30. Djokovic 2 points away from us. 2 sets of love lead. Yeah, Azarenka is losing. All right, love 30. Jack Pennington Jones doesn't give off private school posh boy vibes at all, does it? Yeah, he just needs like the third after it. Jack Pennington Jones the third. Anyways, 15. Where is Jack Pennington Jones from? Let me find out. Let's see. He was either born in the middle of Buckingham Palace, or he was, I feel like he was from the rough streets of Birmingham. I feel like it's either or. It could go both ways. He could have been born on a... could have been born in Windsor Castle, or he could be from the rough streets of Manchester. Where the hell is he? I can't even see his name. Anyways, 6-all. We're going to tie break. Djokovic's got 2 sets of love lead. If he can win one more point. Where the hell is he? Pennington Jones. Where is he? Oh, there he is. He was from Kingston upon Thames. Is that like in the middle of nowhere? 30-40. Kingston upon Thames. I mean, it kind of sounds fancy. Kingston. Oh, I know where that is. I know where Kingston is. I ended up in the night boss that. And I know exactly where that is. I accidentally went there. Anyways, 30-40. I know where Kingston is. Anyways, backhand dead alive from Muller. He survives. Deuce. Gauff serving. 1 love to Yastremska in the tiebreak. Backhand return goes out. 1-all. I know exactly where it is. I woke up on a night bus at the end of the line. It was in Kingston. You know the story I was telling you in chat? We ended up in Kingston. And then we had to get the bus back at 4 in the morning. Is that a fancy place? It sounds fancy. Kingston does sound fancy. But it's outer London. It's like outer London. On the fringes of London. So it must be like zone 6 or 7, right? It's definitely not. It's not central. It's not. It's like way out in the way. Yeah, is it an affluent area? Okay. Gauff double faults 2-1. Yastremska. It's near Surbiton. That's a place they play tennis. Anyways, advantage Djokovic. Very upper class. Okay, so it is a fancy area. Kingston does sound fancy. I'm not going to lie. But yeah, I did end up on the end of the line. It was the end of the night bus. Back in a backhand rally. So I was in the wrong place. I wasn't hanging out there very long. There's a backhand slice from Muller into the forehand of Djokovic. Backhand of Muller into the backhand of Djokovic, who hits it long, and we have to deuce as Gauff goes 3-1 down, or 1-3 down. All right, 3-1. Yastremska. As Djokovic tries to go for a 2-set-to-love lead. You lived in Acton before, right? Yep. I lived in Acton. East Acton. It was great. Anyways, Gauff gets back on the serve. 3-2. Advantage Muller. As we're falling out from Muller into the backhand of Djokovic. Muller backhand on the stretch. Djokovic forehand cross. Muller in the net. We get back to deuce. I used to roam around the streets of Shepherd's Bush and Hammersmith. That was where I hung out, near the Westfield. I went to Belushi's, and then I'd go down to Fulham and spend time down in all the places that are closed now, because I looked them up and I'm like, oh shit, all the bars that I went to are closed. So if I ever go back, I can't even see them. Anyways, we're back on serve here. 3-2. As that lob goes out by Nole, advantage Muller. You know those areas well? Yeah, I live there. Oh man, Gauff double faults twice in this tiebreak. 4-2 Yastremska. All right, 4-2. I loved Hammersmith. If I was rich, I'd live there. Advantage Muller. As Djokovic hits it out, it's 5-5. The only reason I didn't live in Hammersmith was it's too expensive. I loved Hammersmith. I thought that place was so cool. But it was so expensive. It had like a clock tower and stuff, and it was a great station and a great, just a great area. I thought Hammersmith was sick. It was so nice. Richmond's lovely too. I had a friend that lived in Richmond. We went to the deer park in Richmond. There was deer. All right, Djokovic Bellucci levels. Bellucci? Who's Bellucci? What do we chat? Who are? Muller. 5-2 Yastremska. 6 a.m. chap. As we're forehand now to the forehand of Yastremska. Backhand on the stretch from Gauff as Yastremska goes to the forehand of Gauff. Yastremska comes to the net. Gauff with a lob. And it goes in to the forehand of Yastremska. Gauff with the forehand again. Yastremska with a drop shot in the net. Good hustle by Coco. 5-3 Yastremska. My favorite was Kew Gardens. I feel like I went there. Elephant and Hammersmith. No, it's Elephant and Castle. I went to the Ministry of Sound once. Anyways, 5-3. Love Djokovic. As Yastremska. 5-3. She's got the mini break still. As the return goes into the corner, Yastremska back in a Gauff on the stretch. Goes long. 6-3 Yastremska. Djokovic holds 6-5 in the second. Those sound like made-up stereotype English place names. No, they're legitimate. I lived there. I used to live in Wimbledon. I lived in South Wimbledon for a year. And I'd go to the shopping center, which was called Center Court, which is so appropriate. There was also a theater, also a Five Guys burger place there as well. As Yastremska gets a lovely volley winner, and that's the first set, 7-6. It was also a slug and lettuce at Wimbledon that I actually watched Wimbledon at in the area. What else was in Wimbledon? I can't remember. What else was there? I remember the streets. I can just remember walking up and down. I think there's a YMCA somewhere around there too. Somewhere around there's a YMCA. It was great. I loved living there. I lived on the shittier side of Wimbledon. I didn't live on this side where the tennis court was. I was living on the other side, in the south side of Wimbledon. I lived in the south side of Wimbledon. Not in the part where the tennis is. Yeah. Wimbledon is a town. It's not a city. No, it's a town. It's a part of London. It's an area. I didn't know Wimbledon is a name of city. Yeah, no, it's a name. It's actually Wimbledon is so SW. Okay, here's a history lesson. So Wimbledon is like a suburb. It's a part of London, right? It's a borough. I think that's what they call it. And SW19 is the postcode or the zip code of Wimbledon. That's what SW19 means. SW19 is Wimbledon's zip code. And then what they used to do, from what I can remember, so your zip code, full zip code would be SW19, and then it would be like something after that when you'd make it, when you'd put your address down. So yeah, SW being southwest. So when I lived in Acton, which is in the west, it would be W. See, look. See? I lived in Acton, W3. And then it would be, after that, you'd have like three more, you'd have like letter number or something like that. So I lived in W3. So that's what how London's split. So when you're depending on which part of London you're in, if you're in the west or the east, your zip code starts with an E or a W or an S or an SW, or you're in an NW, or that's how they do it. W5 Ealing, oh nice. So yeah, SW19 is the, so there's SW blah blah blah, blah like SW9, there's all these SW everything's, and it determines what part of the London you're in. So SW is southwest because Wimbledon is southwest of London. It all makes sense, Chad. It all adds up. E17, there you go. Postcode, not zip code. I'm saying zip code because that's what the Americans use. I'm trying to speak to the Americans here. I know it's a postcode. We call it a postcode as well. I'm just using the vocabulary of the world so that people understand what is what. SW6, the best. There you go. People living in London love that. Anyways, Djokovic. He's going to play a tiebreak in the second set. Real English, yeah. I used to live in SW19 as well, but in Brixton. Okay. Harrods shop is SW1. Yeah. It's right in the middle of town. It's close to the middle of town. Anyways. Yeah, so SW19, Wimbledon's far away from the middle of London. Like, it's not, like, the Australian Open is in the middle of the city. If you want to go to Piccadilly Circus, it's going to take you a minute from Wimbledon. Like, I thought that Wimbledon was in the city. It's not close. It's kind of like Flushing Meadows. Flushing Meadows is not in the middle of Manhattan, right? You got to go out to Queens, right, to get there. And it's not, if you go to US Open, it's not easy. It's not like in the city or in the middle of the big part of the city, right? It's not, you can't go to Times Square in the US Open within 5 minutes. You got to take trains and buses and planes and shit. Same with Wimbledon. Wimbledon is not next to Big Ben. It's you got to travel like 45 minutes on a train. Not to mention you have to go on the District line, which is just absolute garbage and always breaks down. The District line sucks. There was always delays on the District line. It always broke. It was the end of the line. You always would take the Northern line down and then get off at South Wimbledon and just take the bus. Anyways, well, there's a bit of forehand now from Muller. Backhand, nope, that goes out by Djokovic. Pretty sure it was the Northern line. Was the Northern line the one that goes to South Wimbledon? I'm pretty sure. Yeah, you take the Northern line down to South Wimbledon, and then you'd go up to wherever. That's how I'd get home. I'd skip the District line. District line is shite. All right, 2-1 Muller. Yeah, it takes 45 minutes to an hour. Yeah, exactly. Wimbledon is... And the District line is so slow as well. Because it goes overground for a little bit. Through, God, I can't remember the places. I know they got fancy names. Putney. I remember I used to work in Putney when I first moved there. 2-0. Go through Putney and go through some other things. Double fault Gauff. That's killing her right now. 15-40. I lived in Northeast. Would have probably taken 2 hours. Oh yeah, Northeast. I had friends that lived in up north, near where the Emirates Stadium is. All right, 15-40. Break points. I lived in London for 2 years. District line is the worst. Yeah, it is the worst line. District line sucks. Anyways, Yastremska on the attack. Hits it out. 30-40. As Djokovic hits to 3-2. District line's good now? Okay. All right, Coco in the net with a drop shot. Yastremska's up a set and a break. All right, Djokovic, he gets the 4-2. They change ends. As Muller double faults. You're from Aberdeen? I've been to Aberdeen. I went and saw a movie there once. And then I went to a Russian vodka bar. Is that still a thing? I don't know what it's called, but they had like Russian vodka roulette. It was a wild thing for them to do. All right. Setting a break for Yastremska. Did you attend Wimbledon while you were there? I did. I went to Wimbledon one time. And it was magical. I saw Nick Kyrgios. All right, backhand return from Gauff into the backhand of Yastremska. Gauff with the forehand. Into the net. Love 15 as Djokovic has a 5-2. Did you? Yeah. I've been to a Russian vodka bar in New York City. Okay, cool. All right. 5-2. Is it Russian Roulette, Union Street? I'm not sure what it was called. Is it a backhand now? Cross court goes wide by Gauff, and it's 15-all. As Djokovic hits a drop shot in the net, 5-3. Muller gets one of the mini breaks back. How does Russian vodka roulette work? You take a shot if you lose. No, I think it was like different. I can't remember. It was like they had like I think one of them was like spicy because it had like a whole bunch of different flavored vodkas. So they were all like some sweet ones, and then there was some like normal ones, and then there was like I think there was like a spicy one, and the spicy one was the loser. You lost. If you lost, you get the spicy one if you lost. Or if you pick the spicy one, you lose. Like that kind of thing. I think that's what it was. Yeah, you get a crappy shot. Yeah. The other ones were all like flavored and whatever. And then you get the one that just tastes like garbage. Anyways, 5-4. We're back on serve. Djokovic was cruising, and now he is not. Ever been to Radio Bar? Nice place for a drink near Embankment. I don't remember. I didn't go too much into town because it was too expensive. I went to the places in the West. Like Belushi's in Hammersmith and Shepherd's Bush and places out in Fulham. All right, back at return. Into the back of the Muller. Great shot. Djokovic gets it. Muller forehand down the line is a winner. 5-all. Muller hanging in. After this set, they'll close the roof. They got to close the roof after this. By the way, the French Tennis Federation president is in the house. I remember him from the French Open when he gave the Rafa thing to Rafa. And also Muller's French, so it makes sense. All right, 2-love Yastremska in the second. All right, Muller serves. A fault. Second serve. By the way, what is it? 10-9 p.m. They got to close the roof after this game, after this set. As the return goes in the back of Muller, Djokovic forehand into the forehand of Muller. As Djokovic forehand down the line, Muller with the backhand to the slice of Djokovic. Muller backhand again, sliced. Into the backhand of Djokovic as Muller with the forehand goes long. Djokovic, set point to go up 2-0. Also, Gauff is just trying to stay in this match. Five, 6-5. 6-5. All right, serve again. Djokovic to take the commanding lead. Serve. Into the back of Muller. Volley Djokovic. Muller with a pass. And then Djokovic volleys it wide. Muller levels 6-all. They change ends. Djokovic serving volleying. That is strange. All right. 6-6. Gauff's on the board, by the way. In the second. All right, 6-all in this tiebreak. Djokovic making the error, and his coaches are worried. All right, 6-6. Djokovic serves. And Muller hits it out in the return. 7-6 Nole. 6-7-6. 7-6. Set point number 2. Muller serves. A fault. Second serve. Second serve. Into the forehand of Djokovic. Return to the backhand of Muller. Djokovic backhand again. The backhand of Muller. Djokovic slice. Is out. 7-all. Chad, if Djokovic loses this set, this might not finish tonight. We played 2 hours already, an hour and 45-ish. And we've got 2 hours left. So, I mean, there's a chance this might push towards the curfew. But only if Djokovic loses this set. If he wins this set, I don't think it's going to be close. All right, serve. Into the forehand of Djokovic. Return goes to the forehand of Muller. Djokovic backhand on the stretch. Muller comes in with a volley. Smart shot. 8-7 Muller to level. Okay. Please don't put scores in the chat. Or don't tell people in the chat what's going on because that ruins it for everybody. All right. Muller's got a set point. Djokovic has had a couple of set points for a 2-sets-to-love lead, but he has not been able to capitalize. And now Muller, a chance to take the second. Djokovic with a fault. Second serve. Second serve. Djokovic. Into the backhand of Muller. Return is good. Djokovic volleys it. Muller gets a forehand passing shot winner. One set all as they close the roof. Muller, he stole that. He stole that set. Djokovic should have been up 2-sets-to-love. Muller takes it 9-7 in the tiebreak. Oh, no. They're going to close the roof. This is going to be a late one. Yastremska's up 3-1. All right, Gauff to serve. Gauff's in big trouble. There's Gauff. Good serve. 15-love. This is going to be a weird Wimbledon if Djokovic loses. Well, it's a long way away from that. By the way, Yastremska found an earring. Coco's earring fell out. And Yastremska found it. And gave it back. 15 loves. As Coco serves. Fault. Second serve. Oh, double fault. Gauff's rushing her serves. Especially the second serve. She is rushing the serves. 7 double faults. All right, Gauff serves out wide. Another fault. Second serve. Second serve. Into the backhand of Yastremska returns a winner. 15-30. 15-30. This is really dangerous for Gauff now. As she serves a fault, second serve. Double fault. Double fault. 15-40. Yeah, Coco just said, I can't serve. Serve from Gauff. There's another fault. Second serve. Into the backhand of Yastremska, return the net. Bad miss by Yastremska. 30-40. Why do they close the roof? Because that's the only way they can turn the lights on. As the return goes in the back end of Gauff. Gauff in the net. Yastremska double break. 4-1. Yastremska with a double break in the second. And Coco is in big trouble. I tell you what, it's not been a great start for the Americans. All right. Can Coco come back? Of course she can. But will she come back? We'll find out. It's been a wild first round of Wimbledon. I don't remember this being so crazy so quickly. By the way, only 2 other matches are going on around with these ones. And they're in 5th sets. So those matches will end, and then they will... Because it's 9 o'clock. It's dark. It's dark out there. They don't usually play at 9. Usually around 9 o'clock they decide to call it off. I'm surprised that Monfils and Humbert are still going. I thought they might stop, but I guess they're going to try and push through. All right, Coco is in... big trouble. Big trouble. Center court roof's almost shut. Serving the back in the Gauff. Return goes to front of Yastremska. He puts it in the net. Love 15. Love 15. As the return goes to forehand, Yastremska backing it from Gauff. Is long. 15-all. 15-all. Serve is a fault. Second serve. All right, 30-15. Serve again, Yastremska down the line to the point of Gauff. Yastremska goes to the back end of Gauff. Drop shot is good. Yastremska gets there and puts it away. Gauff just didn't commit to the net. 40-15. Why doesn't Muller play like this every match, every day, and be rich? Is that what you're just quoting Medvedev? All right. 40-15, Yastremska to take a 5-1 lead. Serve. Into the forehand of Gauff. Return goes to forehand of Yastremska. Gauff, backhand. Into the forehand of Yastremska. She gets it back, and Gauff comes in and puts it away. 40-30. 40-30. By the way, is the roof stuck? Oh no, Chad. The roof is stuck. I think the roof... Oh, it's working again. I think they just ran over a bird. Anyways, good serving from Yastremska. 5-1. It just got caught, I think. 5-1. Yastremska, 1 game away from knocking out the number 2 in the world. We already lost Pegula today. All right, Gauff serving to stay in the match. She says a fault. Second serve. Double fault. That's been the story. Coco's double faults. Love 15. As Gauff serves again. Into the backhand, Yastremska. Return the forehand to Gauff. Yastremska in the net with the backhand, 15-0. Serving to the backhand, Yastremska gives a fault again. Second serve. Second serve into the backhand, Yastremska. Return is a winner. 15-30. Yastremska will not be denied. 15-30. Her fourth return winner. Center court roof is shut. As the return goes wide by Yastremska, 30-0. Holy shit, that lady got so sunburnt. That lady was red. Holy hell. That lady forgot the sunscreen today. Backhand return goes back into Gauff. Gauff, it's a wide. Yastremska's got match point, 30-40. To take out Coco Gauff. Is this an upset? It is, but it's not unexpected. I think we all thought that Gauff had a terrible first round matchup. Yastremska is scary. She made a final on grass not long ago as that goes into the backhand of Gauff. Gauff goes in the net, and there it is. Yastremska wins. She knocks out the French Open champion. Chad, this is the weirdest Wimbledon so far. What a weird start. Very strange. Because we don't have this many upsets this early. We get like one upset in the first 2 days. We don't get multiple top 10 upsets in the first days of the tournament. Let me go through the list of who's lost. Djokovic, by the way, is once at all. I mean, it doesn't end. We've got... So on the women's side... No, on the men's side first. We'll go to the men's first. Zverev, Musetti, Rune, and Medvedev. 4 top 10 players gone. Round 1. On the women's side... Badosa, Zhang, Pegula, Gauff. So 8 of the top 10, 4 for men, 4 for the ladies, have lost. That's not even mentioning the top 32 seeds. Mukova's gone, Penko's gone, Frere, Linette, Kostyuk, and Kessler. On the men's side, Cerundolo, Poprin, Tsitsipas, Shapovalov, Bublik, Griekspoor, Berrettini, all good grass guys, some of those, and Mickelson. This tournament is wild, chat. We're day 2. I tell you, this chat, we're going to have some terrible third round matches. We're going to have some bad matches come up. This is what happens. And no disrespect to the players that win, because that's great for them. But there are going to be some horrible matches coming up. And it's not the players' faults. Well, it is. It's the player that loses. It's their fault. But every time we have every time we have upsets, it makes for a really... I mean, look at the French Open last week, right? Or a couple weeks ago. French Open, we didn't have upsets. And we had crazy quarterfinals. And then you look at the US Open last year, and we had upsets in the first couple of days, and we kind of got some random matches. And they were kind of weird. And they weren't great. And people fell off the tournament because they were like, I don't care anymore. This tournament's turning out to be a tournament that, unless you... half the top 10 are gone on day 2. We're going to have some random-ass matches, and that's going to be interesting. We're going to have some weird-ass matches. Anyways, let's move to the streams, because Djokovic is playing in the third. He's one set all. We're going to talk about those matchups in a second. What is actually going to be... what matches we could get now that all these players are gone. We can kind of assess what's going on, because we've only got this match left, pretty much. Djokovic getting some water and stuff. But Coco Gauff's out. Yastremska beats her. I think a lot of us thought that would happen. Maybe not unexpected, but definitely surprising. But then again, nothing surprising after what we've been dealing with all for the first 48 hours. It's been surprising from the start. But jump on over. Djokovic, he's in trouble.